Today I'm going to be retouching this image, and thank you guys for we made 1,000 subscribers to this channel. And before I can go on, this image was taken by Sean shot it, and yeah, I'm going to put his link down in the description so that you guys can follow him on his Instagram. This model really had a beautiful skin. It almost looks perfect, but anyway, we're going to be retouching this particular image. And yeah, we're going to do less work because the model had an amazing skin, and yeah, the model is really beautiful. So we are going to take less time retouching this image. So make sure, this is like a tip, when you're getting your models, make sure they have a good skin, because it kind of helps when you're doing your retouching. You don't tend to spend so much work and so much time retouching an image. So this image was taken by Sean, and yeah, he gave me permission to use this image for this specific tutorial. So we're going to be editing this image, and we're going to be using frequency separation, and we are going to be using a mixer brush tool, and we're going to be using the Gaussian blur method after using our mixer brush tool. The reason for this is with the mixer brush tool, we have to first blend the skin tones of the models to remove, you can see this unevenness, the bumpiness on the model skin. So we're going to get rid of that, and we are going to try to brighten these I should say knuckles a little bit. So yeah, that's what we're going to do for this image, and we're going to do some little dodging and burning to this particular image. So as usual, I start by duplicating the background layer by clicking Ctrl J on the keyboard to duplicate it, because we want to work on a different layer. So I'll just come and I'm going to play my frequency separation action. I know most of you guys have been claiming that you wouldn't download the action I gave you guys for free, and I'm going to put one in the link in the description of this video, and I'm going to update the previous video that had the actions, so that you guys can download this frequency separation action for free. So just come and play the action, so click continue. And now when it comes to the radius right here, make sure you drag this until you're trying to lose the texture on the model skin, but you can still see most of the facial structures on the model's face. So I'm going to pull this. Yeah, I think this is fine. I'm going to use a radius of 10, then click OK, and this you just continue. So we are done creating our frequency separation for this image, and those are the settings. So just come right and drop down. So you click on your high frequency, and you're going to create a black and white layer on top of our texture layer. So the lower frequency layer usually contains the color of the image and the tones, and the high frequency layer contains the texture of the image. So I'll click on your high frequency or texture layer, the top layer, and come and create a black and white layer. What this does, it kind of shows us the unevenness in the model skin. You can see the bumpiness. So we are going to try to get rid of this bumpiness in the model skin. So that's what we're going to be doing for this particular image. So when you create your black and white layer, pull the reds all the way down so that it can darken it a little bit more. Pull them down to get the right details for this image. So close that, and now select your lower frequency layer, and right click and look for your mixer brush tool. So as usual, mine is already selected. This is my mixer brush tool. And for the settings, this is where most of you guys go wrong while retouching using a mixer brush tool. Make sure it is a clean brush. Drop down, select clean brush, and make sure this is not checked right here, and make sure your whiteness is at 10%. You can see 10%. The load is at 75, the mix at 90%, and the flow is at 100%. And make sure sample all layers is not checked. And guys, if you're watching this video and you're learning something, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and yeah, support us by dropping a like on this video and commenting down below in this video. So what we are going to do, we're going to start blending these uneven skin tones together. And when you're using a mixer brush tool, make sure you blend the highlights alone, the midtones alone, and the shadows alone. Make sure you don't drag from the highlights to the shadows or vice versa. So just increase on your brush size using the right bracket on the keyboard, or you can decrease it using the left bracket on the keyboard. So you're going to start mixing, doing the blending of these little skin imperfections. So make sure you really take your time while you're doing your frequency separation, because we don't want it to be destructive and produce uneven results at the end of our retouching process. So that's why we really have to be careful with this process. And remember, this is like a glamour portrait, and yeah, you want to produce the very best of your retouching. So when you turn off your black and white layer by clicking on this eye icon, click on it, and now you click on the frequency separation action. You can see that was the before after. It really looks nice and amazing. So we are going to try to get rid of this dark patch right here. So click on your black and white layer, turn it on, and double click right here. So we are going to increase on the red so that we can get this area perfectly and blend it in the more. So we are going to start blending. Remember, now I was also doing a mistake. Make sure you are on your lower frequency layer, and now start blending these uneven skin tones right here, to kind of get rid of them somehow. So turn off your black and white to see your progress. So before after, we have gotten rid of most of it. So if at all you want to continue blending, keep your black and white off so that you can see where you are mixing, and you get your perfect results. So I'll turn my black and white back on, and since I can't see the imperfections right now, it's because I increased the red. So just come and drop them down, so like that. So I think that is done. So remember, after dropping down your reds, make sure you come back to your lower frequency and click on it. So we keep on mixing on our lower frequency layer. So continue mixing and blending your lower frequency. You can see I am skipping some places. Remember, we have, these are like midtones, and we have this highlight. I'm trying to mix it or blend it alone, so I'm not dragging right from the highlights to the shadows. I'm making sure I remain within the boundaries of the areas I'm trying to blend. So that is the good thing of this. That's the advantage of using the black and white layer on top of the high frequency, because it kind of guides us when we are retouching or mixing the skin tones and blending them. So you can see before after, it is subtle, but we still have the skin texture of the model in this image. So before after, you can see we got rid of this bumpiness right there. Before after, you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, maybe I can try to zoom in the image. You can see the effect it does. And remember, when you're mixing, don't totally zoom in your image. So make sure you're on your lower frequency, and yeah, what you have to do is continue blending. Don't give up, because it is these little details that set you apart and make a difference in your portrait. So just continue blending and mixing these little areas. So remember, we are creating perfection, and yeah, we are like my friend says, we are tapping into greatness. So right now we are blending these uneven skin tones together so that we can create something really really perfect and beautiful at the end of our retouching. And remember, we are using a mixer brush tool to mix and blend these uneven skin tones and removing the bumpiness from this portrait. So just continue mixing and blending these little skin imperfections on the model's skin. So continue. Now we are right on the nose area. You can see I'm blending the mid tones alone and the dark tones alone, because I don't want to distort the shape of the model's face. That's why I'm doing all this. So continue blending these little details on the model's face, because it is these little details that make you different from other photographers out there, and they make you way better or bigger retoucher in the industry. So make sure you don't. As you can see, I keep on making sure I blend each and every detail in the model's face, so I don't want to miss out on these little details. So as you can see, you have to keep on checking your progress. So you can see before, after. It is really becoming really a beautiful portrait. Yeah, and like I said before, you can as well mix without your black and white layer, but I prefer using it because when I turn it on, I tend to see most of the imperfections on the skin. So I think we are done with the face, and since this area is so dark, just come and double click right here and increase on the reds, and now you can see this right well. So we are now selecting, click on your lower frequencies. Don't forget to click on your lower frequency if you at all you want to achieve the results. Make sure when you click on the black and white, come back and select your lower frequency. So most of the people tend to forget to select the lower frequency for the images. So right now we are the other mistakes most people do is they tend to retouch the face, and they tend to forget these vital areas like the neck and the chest of the model. So make sure you kind of retouch those vital areas. So we are going to start doing the mixing on the arms of the model, so we don't want to miss mixing on these little vital areas. So we want to get rid of most of this darkness on the knuckles and these areas right there. And as you can see, I may take longer on these arms because I want it to really turn out a blended portrait. So for the arms, I'm going to zoom all the way in because I would like to get rid of these little dark areas on the fingers of the model. Yeah, and big ups to the makeup artist. I think the makeup was really nice and it wasn't too much for this model. And yeah, like I uploaded the model. She really has a nice skin. Yeah, and the photographer really did the best. Yeah, the image is really well lit, and yeah, the model has a really beautiful skin. So what we're doing, we are trying to get rid of these little dark patches on the model's skin. So let me turn off the black and white layer and I show you guys what we were trying to do. So this is the before after. We are trying to get rid of these dark areas on the model's fingers. So that is what we are trying to achieve by blending or mixing these areas. So increase on your brush depending on the area you're trying to blend or do the mixing on. So I can show you guys the before and the after. Before after image is really turning out to be amazing and awesome. So I'm going to come right to this other arm, turn on my black and white, make sure you are on your lower frequency, and going to increase the brush, and I'm going to blend these little details together, and I'm going to harmonize these skin tones together to get that really nice and perfect look. Like I said, for the fingers, it is well and it is okay for you to zoom in and you try to get rid of these little dark patches, and remember it is these little vital details that make you different from the other people in the industry. So just keep on mixing and blending these little areas, and yeah, you'll see your portrait game really changing in just a minute. So just continue blending. I'm sorry this video is long. I wanted to make a detailed video without forwarding anything. That's why I want to make this video long, so that even a beginner can follow this tutorial and learn something, yeah, and pick a leaf from this tutorial. So, and guys, if you're watching, remember you subscribe to this channel, and if you're a new subscriber, don't forget to click on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on new videos every time we upload to this channel. So let me show you guys the before and the after. Before after. You can see how amazing this looks. So before after, you can see it is not too much and it is really subtle. So I'm going to select on my black and white layer, and I'm going to delete it, drag it and drop it to the trash can. So I'm going to select on my my lower frequency, and I'm going to come to my lasso tool, select it, make sure your feather is at 30 pixels, and come to your filter. And before you can come to the filter, this is like the perfection bit for our frequency separation. So we are going to come and select the area of the skin, and we're going to apply our second method, that is the Gaussian blur method, to fine-tune our retouching. So just come and select, make sure you don't interfere with the hair, make sure you only select the areas of the skin. So I think that is fine. Come to filter, blur, then come to Gaussian blur. So remember, now the trick I use for these images is when I put my radius, when I was doing my frequency separation, I usually multiply it by 3. So then the result I get, I add 2 to it. So 10 times 3, or 10 times 3 is 30, then 30 plus 2, that is 32. So that is what I'm going to put as my radius, 32. Or you can easily move this slider to up to when you can see like a skin is clearing and you're still retaining the details. So like I said, I multiply 10 by 3. Remember, I use 10 as my radius. So 10 by 3, then plus 2, then that's 32. So I'm just going to put this. That is like a cheat code I usually use while I'm doing my retouching. So I'm going to use 32. Click OK. So you're going to apply the very same effect on the rest of the skin. So select, right click, Gaussian blur, like that. So we are going to keep on doing that repetitively. So right click. So we're going to do that for the rest of the image. So and keep on applying your Gaussian blur to the image. So what this step does, it kind of fine-tunes the whole image, and it gives it more of that effect you get when you do global dodging and micro dodging and burning. Yeah, so that's why I usually prefer to add it after blending my skin tones together. So just come and select these areas of the skin, right click and select Gaussian blur. So that is all I am doing for this image. So just come right, and you have to select according to the shape. That is the other thing you have to do. Select according to the shape. You can see I had a shape right there. So just keep on doing this. And now this is our image so far for the face, before after. Now it looks beautiful and amazing. So I want to fine-tune these fingers a little bit. So I'm going to come and I select, make sure you select each finger individually and apply your Gaussian blur. Yeah, even if it is not a perfect selection, just keep on applying it to the fingers, because remember we are getting rid of the darkness, I should say, on the fingers. So yeah, we are getting rid of the dark skin tones on the model's fingers. So that's what we are doing. So just come and make a selection and right click, apply the Gaussian blur. You can see it is really getting fine-tuned. So right click and apply the Gaussian blur. So keep on doing this. Yeah, just do this for the rest of the parts of the fingers. Yeah, so what we are doing now, we are fine-tuning the fingers. So you can see now it is almost balanced. So before after. So we are going to come right here and we are going to apply the effect to these areas. And if at all you feel the effect is too harsh, just come and reduce on right click Gaussian blur. So you can reduce on the effect by clicking Shift Ctrl F to reduce on the opacity of that selection. So yeah, that is what I usually do. So just keep on applying this. And guys, if at all you're learning from this tutorial, make sure you subscribe to this channel. So yeah, we are done with our frequency separation for this image. And now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to remove the simple skin imperfections or blemishes. And you can use whatever you want. So you can go in for your spot healing brush, or the healing brush tool, or the clone stamp, or the patch tool. So usually I prefer using my clone stamp tool, sorry. And I'm going to zoom in the image and click on Alt to sample and paint over the blemish you would like to remove. Alt to sample and click on the blemish you want to remove. Alt to sample. Yeah, and keep on doing that for the rest of the image. And yeah, remove these blemishes, because you don't want a retouch image that has so many faults about it. So right click and remove these simple blemishes from the image. And I'm sorry guys if this is really getting so long for you guys. And yeah, I don't usually love making these retouching videos, but yeah, I prefer that I share some knowledge with you guys. So I just keep on removing these skin imperfections, or removing these simple blemishes from the model's face. As you can see right now, I'm done with removing most of the blemishes. Like I said, the model really had a nice and perfect skin, so that's why I've taken really a short while. But I think I don't know what you guys prefer retouching with. I think sometime I should do a video about micro dodging and burning. I don't know why I keep on mentioning I don't know why I keep on mentioning global dodging and burning. Maybe because I'm so much used to doing the global dodging and burning. So we are done with frequency separation. So before after, let me kind of zoom in for you guys. So before after, and yeah, right now for the image we are going to do a little global dodging and burning to fine-tune it the more. So just come and click on curves. So when you click on curves, first of all you brighten. Remember, when you brighten, we enhance the highlight. So we're going to invert this layer, Control I to invert it, and come back to my curves. Come look for curves, and now you darken. And when you darken, you enhance the shadows in the image. So Control I to. So this is our burn. So we burn and enhance the shadows, and when we dodge, we enhance the highlights in the image. So select the two and put them in a group. Control G to group them. So we're going to name this D and B for dodge and burn. So come right to the group, click on your burn layer, and as usual select this and create a black and white layer on top of your burn layer. So just come and darken it like we did before, and now turn off your frequency separation layer because we want to see the initial highlights and the shadows for the image. Now select on your brush tool, click on it, and reduce the opacity to around 9% because we don't want to overdo our dodging and burning. So increase on your brush size and make sure white is on the foreground. Remember, we are going to be painting on a black mask, so make sure white is on the foreground. You can toggle by clicking this arrow. Make sure white is on top, and now start painting. Control Z. Remember, we burn the highlights and remember, we dodge the highlights and burn the shadows. Sorry about that. So start dodging these simple highlights, and remember, it is these little differences that create or make you stand out from other photographers out there. So I think we have a highlight right there, one here, and yeah, just look for those areas that have highlights. And now come to your burn, same opacity, and you are going to start now burning those areas, the dark areas for the image. So we have one right here, and we had some little bit of contouring here. So just burn these little areas. So I think we are done for our global dodging and burning. So turn back your frequency separation layer, and now select on your black and white layer and drag it down the trash can. Sorry about that. I'm going to drag it down to the trash can to delete it. So let me show you guys the effect for our dodging and burning. So before after, let me zoom in. So before after, it is not too much, and if at all you would like to see the effect, it is there. So this is for the global dodging and burning. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to color grade this image, and we are going to be using our camera raw filter. Remember, we also have to whiten the eyes of the model. So we are going to create a stamp visible layer on top of our dodging and burning layer by clicking Shift Alt Control E on the keyboard, and duplicate the layer, duplicate it, Control J, and now come to filter, camera raw filter, and after selecting your camera raw filter, it will start loading. I'm sorry, my device is really low and the speed is slow. So select the eye area and click on your adjustment brush tool, and make sure your temperature is at -28 and tint is 68. The highlights is at 5 and the whites are at 4, and make sure your saturation is all the way to -73. And now start painting over that white area of the eye. Make sure you take your time and just being fast, because yeah, this tutorial has been pretty long enough. So I think we are done with that eye. So I'm going to zoom in this other eye, and I'm going to whiten it too. Remember, I'm kind of desaturating and removing the color from the eye of the model. So we are done with this. Now we are going to come right to the basic and come to our camera calibration, and we are going to play around with these little sliders. Now you're going to play around with the hues of this image. So I'm going to go in for 7, and I'm going to come to my green primaries, and I'm going to play around with it too. I'm going to leave it at 7 too. So I'm going to come to my blue primary, and I'm going to play around with it. So I'm going to leave it at around 4 for this image. Yeah, so I think that is fine. So I'm going to come back to my red primaries, and I'm going to increase them to around 10. So I think we are done with color grading this image. So click on OK. I think that is fine. So this is the before color grading, after, before, after. You can see before, after, it is not too much. And yeah, this I think this is all for this image. And yeah, this video has been about frequency separation, and we used a mixture brush tool. I'm going to turn off this, and so this is the before, after, before, after. You can see this was the before frequency separation, this is the after. You can see a difference. Then we did our global dodging and burning for this image. Then we created a stamp visible layer, and we color graded this image. So this has been a tutorial about frequency separation, global dodging and burning, eye whitening, and color grading this image. I'm Ronnix from Ronnixphotography. Thank you for watching. Till next time.